Hi, my name is Maya Roth, and I am a professor at Georgetown and artistic director of the Davis Performing Arts Center. And it's great to see you, or imagine that I am seeing you. Welcome to Parents Weekend, and to our Letters and Poems project. This project is going to continue across the year. This is our very first installment, and it's already been a great pleasure and gift because we've been spending time with great poems and letters. And now we want to share some with you. There are many, many more that we've shared with each other across students, faculty, staff, and alums. And we hope that you will be part of the not only this first installment, but also part of that sharing across the year. This is the first kind of big virtual event in our season. Our season that is a bit hybrid and mostly virtual currently. And it is our season, as you have noted from the display, is Seeds of Change, Reimagining the World. And here we are reimagining a little bit what a performance might look like with each other. So welcome. I know that you've been already active in the chat, and we will share also a website there, a website where this performance will be lodged, but also all of the nominations that we've received. And we'll just keep building along the way. You yourself can nominate a poem or a letter. And across the evening, I'll be telling you a bit more about the inspiration for this. First, I want to invite my co-host to the floor or the stage, our virtual stage, Andrew Molinari, who is a fabulous, fabulous senior. He just hopped over from a Mr. Georgetown event, and he is a performing arts minor. And it is glorious to see you, Andrew.
Hi, Maya. How's everything going?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well, too. Happy Friday. And happy Friday to everyone who's tuning in from home on YouTube.
Yay.
I can give some of the more logistical, technical takeaways for the beginning of the show. Sure? Okay, awesome. So hi, everyone at home again. My name is Andrew, and thank you so much for joining us for Letters and Poems tonight. We encourage you to join in the fun of this show however you see fit. This means that your standard theater rules are completely thrown out the window. We encourage you, if you need to go up, get a drink during the show, please go up and get a drink. We also encourage you to have some snacks on hand, grab your popcorn, your candy, your throat lozenges. Anytime will be a good time to unwrap your throat lozenges, I promise you. We understand the difficulties of this reality, and we want to encourage you to engage as best as you possibly can, whatever that means for your situation. Also, I note that we are doing this live stream on YouTube. If you are having technical difficulties at home and you might fall behind the live stream, you can just click the little button at the bottom of your screen that says live, and that'll take you right up to where we are in real time. But fear not if you do experience some overwhelming technical difficulties. The show will be up, a recording of the show will be up after this weekend, and it'll be available for the Georgetown community to rewatch, to enjoy. A special share for those of us who have Georgetown logins. I'm sure we can put in the chat some information about that later on in the night. But other than that, I think that's everything we got. We just have to make sure that we stay unmuted for the whole event, Maya.
Sounds good. Me and my loud laugh.
Huzzah. Awesome. Well, shall we
We should invite the cast in. Yes, absolutely. These are most of the core cast. The structure, in creating the structure, we did a big hybrid thing, which means that there's a core cast, and that's who's going to join us. And then you'll be experiencing shares from across the night from others. And there are two members of our core cast who will not be joining us in this moment, who joined asynchronously, but were in all of the rehearsals. Come on in, y'all.
Whoop, whoop. Hi, everyone.
Hey, hello. So we let's start with a one-word invocation. What do you most hope for from this 75 minutes? Column.
I hope for inspiration. I'm going to pass it to Kellen.
I hope for excitement. I'll toss it to Maggie.
I hope for community, and I'll pass it to Sam.
I'm hoping for some noise. I'll pass it to Paulina.
I hope for some hope. I'll pass it to Courtney.
I hope for some ice cream. I'll pass it to Camilla.
I hope for some laughter. And I'll pass it to Andrew.
Sounds good. I hope for some warmth. And with that, we thank you.
Courtney, why don't you start us off?
Maya, I would be more than happy to do so. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. We're going to begin with an ode to my fellow meeting attendees by Alicia Jo Ravens. I love seeing the inside of your home. I love seeing your cats perch on your chair, your children tear through the room, your small dogs nestled on your lap. I love your houseplants and your dressers. And for those of you who are good with technology, I love your fancy backgrounds and what they say about your souls. You love San Francisco, or would live in a jungle if given the choice, or are a priestess of the high occult with 100 cats and 1,000,000 candles. I love your couches and your kitchen cabinets, your hanging pot racks, your bed piled with laundry or perfectly made, your bare walls or your tastefully hung art, your surprisingly inspirational bookshelves. Believe in silver script. All these years we've worked together, and only now that we are far apart can we be this unguarded. I remember my 7th grade boyfriend. We never spoke at school, but on the phone at night, there were no secrets between us. My fellow meeting attendees, we are like that now. So separate, so far apart, that we can finally invite one another into our holy of holies. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Miranda Rose Hall, and I graduated from the college in 2011. I also taught at Georgetown from 2017 to 2018. I'm a playwright. And I'm sharing a poem that I wrote in the early days of quarantine back in March, when I was living in a tiny, tiny, tiny apartment in Brooklyn. I'm now reading this from a larger apartment in New Haven, but it's a poem that still resonates with me, so I wanted to share it. It's called These Days. I have turned on the radio. I have turned off the radio. I have texted, I have waited, I have run from screen to screen, playing the game of panic, and I have panicked, unaccompanied, with gusto and abandon. I have waited in line outside of the grocery store. I have waited in line inside of the grocery store and comforted a woman in line ahead of me, overwhelmed by dog food and weeping because she had lost her mother. I have rearranged my life and also the plants. I have mended my black sweater with navy blue thread. I have waited for the mango to warm up on the table. I have made tea and scrubbed the dishes and learned to measure 20 seconds by heart. I have witnessed a baptism on church Zoom and typed prayers into a chat box. I have made soup with onions and carrots, which sweetened the broth unexpectedly. I have looked for apartments with gardens and for other apartments with laundry, and meanwhile I have approximated the spin cycle by shuffling my feet in soapy water in the tub. I have pretended to work. I have given up on reading and on patience for language, and instead I've stood at my north-facing window, observing the blue jay in the catalpa tree and the cardinal in the paper mulberry, watch their bodies beat with the effort of their calls, which I have learned also and noted to myself, blue jay, cardinal, and tried to recall hours later as the sun sets out of view, somewhere west of this mess of clouds, pink at last at 7 o'clock after so many months of darkness. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're hanging in there, and I'm sending you light and love from Connecticut.
Life, friends, is boring. Oh, we must not say so. After all, the sky flashes, the great sea yearns, we ourselves flash and yearn. And moreover, my mother told me as a boy, repeatedly, ever to confess you're bored means you have no inner resources. I conclude now, I have no inner resources, because I am heavy bored. Peoples bore me. Literature bores me, especially great literature. Henry bores me with his plights and gripes, as bad as Achilles, who loves people and valiant art, which bores me. And the tranquil hills and gin look like a drag. And somehow a dog has taken itself and its tail considerably away into mountains or sea or sky, leaving behind me. Wag.
Hi.
Hi.
So we just got a little sample of what tonight will be like. It's a little collage of different kinds of pieces, and sometimes poems are performed like theater, as Jake just did, and sometimes it is an opening of one's own experience. We're finding these little windows on intimacies and intensities are stewarded through short form.
Let's keep going on this theme, Maya. Let's explore some different lenses. I wanna lead us into a glimpse into how our community is listening to inspiration right now. What is grounding us? What windows are we looking through? Let's let Maggie take it away and give a sense of what we mean.
Great.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi. Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm Maggie, and today I will be sharing a poem I wrote for my best friend Nora, and it is titled NBH. I hear you in the coffee shop, the miles between us melting into laced lattices of bluegrass stringing from the ceiling. I hear you when I choose to walk on the sunny side of the street, listening to a playlist you made in a different world. I hear you when the door opens. The cold air follows your warmth like a shadow, and I sit up a little taller to peer over your walls. I hear you when everything reminds me of poetry, things I could only say if I had your hands. I hear you when the sun sets too fast, and I tell you happy birthday once again. Thank you, everyone.
The house was quiet and the world was calm, by Wallace Stevens. The house was quiet and the world was calm. The reader became the book, and summer night was like the conscious being of the book. The house was quiet and the world was calm. The words were spoken as if there was no book, except that the reader leaned above the page, wanted to lean, wanted much most to be the scholar to whom his book is true, to whom the summer night is like a perfection of thought. The house was quiet because it had to be. The quiet was part of the meaning, part of the mind, the access of perfection to the page. and the world was calm. The truth in a calm world in which there is no other meaning, itself is calm. Itself is summer and night. Itself is the reader leaning late and reading there.
This poem is by Cavafy, a Greek poet called The Windows. In these dark rooms where I live out empty days, I wander round and round, trying to find the windows. It will be a great relief when a window opens, but the windows aren't there to be found, or at least I can't find them. And perhaps it's better if I don't find them. Perhaps the light will prove another tyranny. Who knows what new things it will expose? Perhaps the light will prove another tyranny. Who knows what new things it will expose?
Shiva, I have to confess, it's so wonderful to hear your voice. And I see you in the chat. I see others in the chat. One of my favorite things about working on this project has been getting to connect with people and hear voices of the people whom I haven't seen in a long time in person. You know, when we're geographically separated from each other, in a way, has this increased our desire to listen to each other? Has this increased our desire to connect? They say distance makes the heart grow fonder. What does that mean in a time like this? To answer this question, let's take a look at some of our fellow students and faculty's favorite poems that they have submitted to us for this event. And I'll hand it over to Sam to perform a piece that was nominated by our very own Father Matt Carnes.
Thanks, Andrew. I'll be reading My Own Heart, Let Me More Have Pity On by Gerard Manley Hopkins. My own heart, let me more have pity on. Let me live to my sad self hereafter kind, charitable, not live this tormented mind with this tormented mind tormenting yet. I cast for comfort I can no more get by groping around my comfortless than blind eyes in their dark can day or thirst can find thirsts all in all a world of wet. Soul, self, come poor Jack self, I do advise you jaded, let be, call off thoughts a while elsewhere, leave comfort root room. Let joy sighs at God knows when to God knows what. Who smiles not wrung, see you. Unforeseen times, rather, as skies between pine mountains, lights a lovely mile. Thank you.
Antidotes to Fear of Death by Rebecca Elson. Sometimes, as an antidote to fear of death, I eat the stars. Those nights, lying on my back, I suck them from the quenching dark till they are all inside me, pepper hot and sharp. Sometimes, instead, I stir myself into a universe still young, still warm as blood. No outer space, just space. The light of all the not yet stars drifting like a bright mist, and all of us and everything already there, but unconstrained by form. And sometimes it's enough to lie down here on earth, beside our long ancestral bones, to walk across the cobble fields of our discarded skulls, each like a treasure, like a chrysalis, thinking. Whatever left these husks flew off on bright wings.
Black Salt by Édouard Glissant. Dedicated to the sea. For the salt, it signifies again the brilliance and the bitterness, distress of lights on its expanse. Profusion. The theme, as pure idea, knots itself with foam, with salting. Monotony. Untiring sound, the cry splits open. There is, on the delta, a river, where the word builds up, the poem, and where the salt is purified. À la mer, pour le sel qu'elle signifie, encore une fois splendeur et amertume, détresse des lumières sur l'espace. Profusion. Le thème, pure idée, se noue d'écume, de salaison. Monotonie, rumeur inlassable que le cri fêle.
I think a lot of us have been journaling a lot over the past few months. I know my friends and I have. I know I keep my journal with me at all times, and I write in it every night before I go to bed. And something I'm wondering is what's going to happen to our journals and our writings when we read them a decade or two in the future? What are we going to feel about how we felt right now in 2020 in this insane year? And I think it's really fitting for this event because Emily Dickinson was actually the most nominated poet out of anyone tonight. And out of Emily Dickinson's journals were spawned a lifetime of work that still affect and connect with each and every one of us today. So for the next piece, I want to hand it over to my good friend and current housemate, Kate Clark, to read one of her favorite Emily Dickinson poems.
I'm Nobody by Emily Dickinson. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody, too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. You'd advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody. How public. Like a frog. To tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog.
Hi, it's Maya. Our house is quiet. The theater is quiet. Still, we're making theater. We're creating community. We're collaborating. We're listening to language and reflecting on the world. Thank you for being with us. Hi, it's Maya again. I'm at home. That was in the empty theater, our teaching and research lab. So the reason why I thought of doing poems and letters is because they're short form and we are in so many different places. And it is a way that we can create a collage together in our near and far places and such disparate lives that we're all encountering. And in a way, that's what Georgetown is right now, is we are connected and we're sharing, and we're also up against all of the many, many differences of how we're experiencing this time and this cycle of times. So this performance is a way to connect those differences and those disparate windows in the world. Next, we're going to go into a set of pieces that have been nominated, and I'll tell you, I reached out to faculty colleagues because students are feeling displaced from each other, but so too are we faculty. We miss each other. We miss our students. We miss teaching. And we miss being in the spaces, of course, and we're living with a wide array of experiences. And so what I invited was that folks share poems and or letters, short pieces that speak to these times, however someone interpreted that, and or lifts us up out of them. And here are some of the responses. It was a great gift to experience some, and we want you to as well. The first was nominated by one of my dear friends, Ricardo Ortiz. It's called The Leash by Ada Limon, and it will be shared by Olivia, who helped to curate this collection.
This is The Leash by Ada Limon. After the birthing of bombs of forks and fear the frantic automatic weapons unleashed, the spray of bullets into a crowd holding hands, that brute sky opening in a slate metal maw that swallows only the unsayable in each of us, what's left? Even the hidden nowhere river is poisoned orange and acidic by a coal mine. How can you not fear humanity, want to lick the creek bottom dry, to suck the deadly water up into your own lungs like venom? Reader, I want to say, don't die. Even when silvery fish after fish comes back belly up, and the country plummets into a crepitating crater of hatred, isn't there still something singing? The truth is, I don't know, but sometimes I swear I hear it. The wound closing like a rusted over garage door, and I can still move my living limbs into the world without too much pain, can still marvel at how the dog runs straight toward the pickup trucks, breaknecking down the road, because she thinks she loves them. Because she's sure, without a doubt, that the loud, roaring things will love her back. Her soft, small self, alive with desire to share her goddamn enthusiasm, until I yank the leash back to save her because I want her to survive forever. Don't die, I say, and we decide to walk for a bit longer. Starlings high and fevered above us, winter coming to lay her cold corpse down upon this little plot of earth. Perhaps we are always hurtling our body toward the thing that will obliterate us, begging for love from the speeding passage of time, and so maybe, like the dog obedient at my heels, we can walk together peacefully, or at least until the next truck comes.
Let me pop in really quickly. Our first technical difficulties of the night. Welcome to live theater on Zoom. I think I want to pop in just really quickly to second Maya's point from earlier and to introduce our next few pieces, which are really such a touchstone of this project for me. It's been awesome to work on an open source project where people can submit their own nominations and everybody can bring to the center of attention things that speak to them and pieces that speak to their experiences. I think we have all been challenged to listen closely, to experience the nuances and the beauties of being put in someone else's shoes through letters, through poems. I'm really excited about the next few pieces which help us do exactly that. So let me welcome a special voice, our very own Davis Performing Arts Center production manager, a gifted lighting designer from Puerto Rico, who nominated this poem that speaks to home and America. Alberto, after you.
Desde las ondas del mar que son besos a su orilla, una mujer de Aguadilla vino a New York a cantar, pero no solo a llorar, largo llanto y morir. De ese llanto yo nací. Como la lluvia una fiera, y vivo en la larga espera de cobrar lo que perdí. Por un cielo que se hacía más feo, más volaba, a New York se acercaba un peón de las Marías. Con la esperanza decía de un largo día volver, pero antes me hizo nacer. Y de tanto trabajar se quedó sin regresar, reventó en un taller. De una lágrima soy hijo y soy hijo del sudor. y fue mi abuelo el amor único en mi regocijo. Del recuerdo siempre fijo en aquel cristal de llanto, como quimera en el canto. De un Puerto Rico del sueño, y yo soy puertorriqueño sin nada, pero sin quebranto. Y el lechón que me desmienta que se ande muy derecho, no sea en lo más estrecho de un zaguán pague la afrenta. Pues según alguien me cuenta, dicen que la luna es una, sea del mar o sea montuna. Y así le grito al villano, yo sería borincano aunque naciera en la luna.
Hi, this is Solace by David White. Solace is the art of asking the beautiful question of ourselves, of our world, or of one another in fiercely difficult and unbeautiful moments. Solace is what we must look for when the mind cannot bear the pain, the loss, or the suffering that eventually touches every life and every endeavor. When longing does not come to fruition in a form we can recognize, when people we know and love disappear, when hope must take a different form than the one we have shaped for it. Solace is the beautiful, imaginative home we make, where disappointment can go to be rehabilitated. When life does not in any way add up, we must turn to the part of us that has never wanted a life of simple calculation. Solace is found in allowing the body's innate wisdom to come to the fore. The part of us that already knows it is mortal and must take its leave like everything else, and leading us where the mind cannot bear what it is seeing or hearing, to the bird song in the tree above our heads, even as we are being told of a death. Each note in essence of mourning and of mourning. Of the current of a life moving on, but somehow also and most beautifully carrying, bearing, and even celebrating the life we've just lost. A life we could not see or appreciate until it was taken from us. To be consoled is to be invited onto the ground of beauty upon which our inevitable disappearance stands. To a voice that does not soothe falsely, but touches the epicenter of our pain, or articulates the essence of our loss, and then emancipates us into both life and death as an equal birthright. Solace is not an evasion, nor a cure for our suffering, nor a made-up state of mind. Solace is a direct seeing and participation, a celebration of the beautiful coming and going, appearance and disappearance of which we have always been a part. Solace is not meant to be an answer, but an invitation through the door of pain and difficulty to the depth of suffering and simultaneous beauty in the world that the strategic mind by itself cannot grasp nor make sense of. To look for solace is to learn to ask fiercer and more exquisitely pointed questions. Questions that reshape our identities and our bodies and our relation to others. Standing in loss, but not overwhelmed by it, we become useful and generous and compassionate and even amusing companions for others. But Solace also asks very direct and forceful questions. Firstly, how will you bear the inevitable that is coming to you? And how will you endure it through the years? And above all, how will you shape a life equal to and as beautiful and as astonishing as a world that can birth you, bring you into the light, and then just as you are beginning to understand it, take you away? Thank you.
Lucille Clifton, 1936 to 2010. Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I have no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up. Here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed.
Hi, Maya.
I love your flowers.
Do you like my flowers?
I do.
I did them just for you.
I wanted to see Fatima a little longer. If you are watching, this is for
I
you.
think we all want to see Fatima when Fatima is speaking. Do you want to tell the audience how they might be able to see Fatima for a little bit longer?
Yes. So part of what we can do this year is to center, learning and interdisciplinarity and research, but also, as the season theme suggests, we're seeding new work. And 2 special projects this year are senior thesis projects, and usually in the theater and performance studies home season, we have at least one. Fatima Daifen is doing she's writing a new work called Sunbath. It's gorgeous, in development right now. Will be a collaboration between Black Theater Ensemble. It's a theater and performance studies collaboration. Her home department is African American Studies. And that will be in March. Grace Crozier is doing a project, senior thesis project, solo piece. And that one will be a collaboration with Disability Studies. We're incubating new work with Arena Stage and Howard. So we're looking for ways, both through projects like this, where we're doing community engagement, and through really the cultivation of new work, to say this time is fertile. And helping. Oh yeah. But also, letting us engage with different ways of imagining the world and different creative and social models, hoping that we get out on the other side of pandemic, doing things better in all kinds of spheres.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's bring it on forward to Sam to see how currently our current theater community is connecting with the world. Sam, do you want to join us?
Oh.
2 performing arts minors right there. Okay, I'm all pop out.
Yeah. I will be reading Essay on Craft by Ocean Vuong. Because the butterfly's yellow wing, flickering in black mud, was a word, stranded by its language. Because no one else was coming, and I ran out of reason, so I gathered fistfuls of ash, dark as ink, and hammered them into marrow, into a skull thick enough to keep the gentle curse of dreams. Yes, I aimed for mercy, but came only as close as a cage around the heart, shudders over the eyes. Yes, I gave it hands, despite knowing that to stretch that clay slab into 5 rays of light, I would go too far, because I, too, needed a place to hold me. So I dipped my fingers back into the fire, pried open the lower face until the wound widened into a throat, until every leaf shook silver with that god-awful scream. And I was done. And it was human. Thank you.
This is In What Sense I Am I by Carl Rakowski. In what sense am I, a minor observer, as in a dream, absorbed in the interior, a beardless youth, unaccountably remote yet present at the action, reminding me faintly of Prufrock, a diminutive figure, barely discernible and seemingly ageless, escapes me. The original impulse to sing, compressed into one exultant note, breaks out of the chest space, vibrating along the shoulders in the presence of full-bodied womanliness. The eyes dark in the inner scene, the hair long and black, our dark lady, inmate of courtship. She does not speak. She is nameless. The reason for her presence there is unknown. A shepherd, vaguely associated, stands at a distance under a birch tree, casually playing a flute. Sweetness streams across, also from the balance and the position of each it issues. Neither moves. The scene is not matter that can pall or diminish. Its secret holds as fast as I. As in Giorgione, the suspense is eternal. Thank you.
This is a sort of song by William Carlos Williams. Let the snake wait under his weed, and the writing be of words, slow. Quick, sharp, to strike, quiet, to wait. Sleepless. Through metaphor to reconcile the people and the stones. Compose, no ideas but in things. Invent. Saxifrage is my flower that splits the rocks. Thank you.
So my secret, perhaps you have already guessed, is that I need art. I get really down if I don't encounter creativity and beauty and nature and dance and art and theater and gorgeous language. And so in this time, this cascade of times, then having poems that give shape and form to the range of experiences from grief or trauma to joy to just an overwhelming too muchness is almost essential for me. And I think that's one of the reasons, beyond the meditative quality that they bring, I think really that sense of form is what's compelling us, but also that relationship to creativity that's not a commitment to a huge thing, but that's distilling down the ephemeral and the intensity and magis. This next set includes a series of creative responses. Some of them are original works, choreography in this next piece, adapting poems by Ono no Kamachi, by Maggie, then original poems by Ashani and Professor Duncan Wu. So they're all creative responses in a way to the world and to other artworks and to living. So join us.
As I dozed, the man I love appeared. So does dreams that have begun to comfort me. The color of this flower has already faded away while in idle thoughts. My life goes by as I watch the long rains fall upon the path of dreams. My feet don't rest, constantly trailing to you, yet in reality a single glimpse, not even that have I had of you. In my desolation, I am as duckweed. Cut my roots and take me away. Would the water do it? I should go, I think.
You pool in my throat in the mornings. The taste of your lips always caught between my tonsils and my tongue. It has been months and I am still licking you off my fingertips, like honey, an age-old soaked wine? What if loving someone is not holding them in your mouth when they are gone? I try to swallow, but the words get stuck in my throat. Shards of glass slide into my stomach. I call love the silver death, and I think about the mirror in your bedroom. All warm wood and roses. Your smile reflected in the morning light. If this is death, what a glimmer it carries. What a wonderful, graceful way to go.
Hi, I'm Duncan Wu, and this is my poem, True Love. If Mobile is part of Central, I'm its rodeo queen on Carnival Day. Though we're in the Pascagoula Pines Econo Lodge about 30 miles away. You can get me a mojito tonight at the Oaks. Then maybe we'll shake and shimmy into the light, across the brightness, right through the swamps into the Mississippi Bay, and nobody will hear of me and you again. We'll be a tale of morality, two far-tossed lovers who waltzed into the Gulf of Mexico for immortality. True love is when you allow your betrothed to seize a knife and slice open your throat.
Okay, so what you just heard were some original works, an original dance, an original poem, and an original poem by a professor at Georgetown. I think if you could tell from Professor Wu's editing and his camera work, I think we've all embraced some brand new ways of creating, right? New formats, new structures, new voices within ourselves. Unfortunately, our more external voices, especially through live music and musicals, have been a little hard to stage these days, but we find ways to burst out in song. I think as creators, we always find a way to burst out in song. So luckily, our dear friend Paulina has offered to join us tonight to show us how she's found joy in her favorite musical during these past few months. Go ahead, Paulina, take it away.
Dear friend, I am so sorry about last night. It was a nightmare in every way, but together you and I will laugh at last night someday. Ice cream. He brought me ice cream, vanilla ice cream. Imagine that. Ice cream, and for the first time we were together without a spell. Friendly, he was so friendly, that isn't like him. I'm simply stunned. Where wonders never cease, where wonders never cease. It's been a most peculiar day. Where wonders never cease, where wonders never cease. Oh right, where was I? Dear friend, I'm so sorry about last night's nightmare and every way together you and I left last night someday. I sat waiting in that cafe, never knowing that you were fat, that you were near, you were outside looking bald. Oh dear. Dear friend, I am so sorry about last night. Last night I was so nasty. Well, he deserved it, but even so, that George is not like this George. This is a new George that I don't know. Somehow it all reminds me of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. When bright before my eyes, the man that I despise has turned into a man I like. It's almost like a dream, as strange as it may seem. He came to offer me
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I hope you're all enjoying your ice cream.
So, we have shared. I just love seeing people snack. I hope you're snacking at home too right now. And thank you, Paulina, for the great joy. We need that. Part of the open source project has enabled us to engage a cross-section of Georgetown's campus since we're not moving about. We've seen nominations from professors in language departments, from history. We have students from across campus and schools. But I also kind of want to frame the next leg of this project. I thought we were going to have tons of letters, and it ended up so many people were really intrigued by poems. And I've already shared with you my sense of why I need the poems. Georgetown also has extraordinary archives, and another short form that is taking off in performance engages letters. So if poems speak to our souls, perhaps most directly, the archives and these letters are our way of journeying a bit through history.
Maya, I can help you out a little bit. Do you want some letter reading to happen?
Please, please.
I got you. All right. Well, I'll try my hand at reading one of my favorite letters by Oscar Wilde. It goes a little something like this. Café Suisse, the Epic, Tuesday at 7:30. My own darling boy, I got your telegram half an hour ago and just sent a line to say that I feel that my only hope of again doing beautiful work in art is being with you. It was not so in the old days, but now it is different. And you can really recreate in me that energy and sense of joyous power on which art depends. Everyone is furious with me for going back to you, but they don't understand us. I feel that it is only with you that I can do anything at all. Do remake my ruined life for me, and then our friendship and our love will have a different meaning to the world. I wish that when we met at Rowan, we had not parted at all. There are such wide abysses now of space and land between us. But we love each other. Good night, dear. Ever yours, Oscar. And now I'll introduce some other selections from recent centuries that caught our historical imagination. We have a letter from a Georgetown student to his family in 1830. We have Vita Sackville West's love letter to Virginia Woolf in 1920, and Dorothy Parker's telegram to her publisher in 1943. Cullum, take it away with some letters for us.
Georgetown College, October 7th, 1830. Dear Emmy, it is with great difficulty I can steal a few moments to pen these lines to you. And as my time as well as subject is limited, I hope you will excuse the brevity of this. The cold north winds begin to warn us of the approach of His Majesty old Jack Frost and of Christmas. Also imagine to yourself only a moment of Darcum nitum al sororum. I mean by this, very early in the morning that I wake and proceed with slow steps, you may be sure to the pump, for the sleep is not yet extracted from my eyes to wash and then go to hard study. I lay my head on it. You do not go through this up your way. I cannot complain of this because it is entirely my own option. Papa was here lately, but did not stay for long. He brought little Eddie with him, and when he had got once into the carriage, it was impossible to get him out of it, for if I attempted to move him, he would holler so loud as to disturb the boys in studies. We play football at present. What I mean by football is it is a kind of leather bag in which is placed a bladder filled with air, which causes it to bounce up very high and is kicked around by the boys. I have had my feet skinned and bruised by it very often. I'm lame with one I have received today. Tell me in return all the news up your way. how you like your situation, how you go on in your studies, all these things will be alike gratifying and amusing to me. Make a watch guard for me, if you please. Although I've not a watch at present. It is no sign that I will never have one. Excuse this bad writing, as I am pressed for time, have a bad pen, and am surrounded with noise. Write to me soon, as I am very anxious to hear from you. All friends join with me in sending their best love to you, and believe me to be your affectionate brother, John C. Brent.
January 21st, Milan. I am reduced to a thing that wants Virginia. I composed a beautiful letter to you in the sleepless nightmare hours of the night. And it is all gone. I just miss you in a quite simple, desperate human way. You with all your undone letters would never write so elementary a phrase as that. Perhaps you wouldn't even feel it. And yet I believe you'll be sensible of a little gap, but you clothe it in so exquisite a phrase that it would lose a little of its reality. Whereas with me, it's quite stark. I miss you even more than I could have believed. I was prepared to miss you a good deal, so this letter is really just a squeal of pain. It is incredible how central to me you have become. I suppose you are accustomed to people saying these things. Doubt you, spoiled creature. I shan't make you love me any the more by giving myself away like this, but oh my dear, I can't be clever and standoffish with you. I love you too much for that. Too truly. You've no idea how standoffish I can be with people I don't love. I've brought it to a fine art. But you've broken down my defenses. And I don't really resent it. However, I won't bore you with any more.
Pascal Covici, Viking Press, 18 East, 48th Street.
This is instead of telephoning, because I can't look you in the voice. I simply cannot get that thing done, yet never have done such hard night and day work, never have so wanted anything to be good, and all I have is a pile of paper covered with wrong words. I can only keep at it and hope to heaven to get it done. Don't know why it is so terribly difficult, or I so terribly incompetent. Dorothy.
So there's also a whole genre of letters to the world. As we know, there have been some extraordinary works just in the past year or two. And there's a fabulous project if you want to look online for Letters Live, just like the hip hop concerts that have been happening on Broadway, where it's kind of contingency chants. So online is a place where you can experience yet more letters. There's a few, though, that have really changed history, and here's one.
These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too highly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods. And it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. Thomas Paine, The Crisis Number 1, written December 19th, 1776. A rat done bit my sister Nell, with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arms began to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. I can't pay no doctor bill, but Whitey's on the moon. 10 years from now, I'll be paying still, while Whitey's on the moon. The man just upped my rent last night, 'cause Whitey's on the moon. No hot water, no toilets, no lights, but Whitey's on the moon. I wonder why he's upping me, 'cause Whitey's on the moon. I was already paying him $50 a week with Whitey on the moon. Taxes taking my whole damn check. Junkies making me a nervous wreck. The price of food is going up, and as if all that shit wasn't enough, a rat done bit my sister Nell, with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arm began to swell, but Whitey's on the moon. Was all that money I made last year for Whitey on the moon? How come there ain't no money here? Whitey's on the moon. You know, I just about had my fill of Whitey on the moon. I think I'll send these Dr. Bell's airmail special to Whitey on the moon.
Thanks so much, Chase. Always awesome to hear your voice. For those of you at home, we're about 3/4 of the way through our event tonight. And with that, I want to turn us back to some poetry. Let's hear a couple more poems that have been brought to our attention and speak to the complexities of life. I'll hand it over to you, Maddie.
I have tried hard to have appropriate feelings. I folded them away like sweaters, kept my distance from the moon, visited the sick. I am proud of the life. Nobody knows the garden I've seen. I'm tender with the suburb. Some days even the ceiling worries me, the way it keeps the roof on. I only cry when the polar bears get to me. The ones stranded on the melting ice. Otherwise, I'm kept in line by the steady curve of my driveway, the tight fists of roses. I can easily converse about the sweet peas or our eventual disintegration. The sky has more to say to me than I could ever know, given the restricted space between houses. Frogs sing at night. And one of the train. That poem is called I Have Tried Hard to Have Appropriate Feelings by Susan Leslie Moore.
This is 114 from Glare by A.R. Emmons. The world, so populous, is so decimated. There were 40 aunts and uncles. There was Aunt Blanche and Uncle Claude, Aunt Mitt, Aunt Kate, I loved her, Uncle John, commanding, and Uncle Frank, soused, and Aunt Lottie, Addie, Laura. I believe. No, I believe. But In what? I believe in belief. That's hollow belief, the form of belief without substance. Does that do any good, do you think? Well, I would say, if I may say so, that at least you'd be favorably placed in attitude. I don't know if you ever noticed it, but what you tell yourself can make a difference. It cannot, as far as I can tell, keep, say, the house from burning down, but it can be useful to say to yourself, so look, it's not like it's the end of the world. I'll, you'll rebuild. Start over. The sun comes up tomorrow, in all likelihood. It would not be useful to say, that's the end of me. So, make all the good, working, internal differences you can. And there are even circumstances in which internal difference can influence external difference. For example, when the aforementioned grisly issue is wrapped from the bushes, what you do may influence what he does. I don't know what you should do. I think I heard you should be still and not scream. Maybe unless he comes at you, then you should commence to shout and wave your arms. I'm not sure about that, but if you keep your head, while all about you people aren't keeping their heads, you may be chosen as their leader, absently and positively. Life is a sueño, all right. Also a trip and one hell of a note.
I have a seat in the abandoned theater in Beirut. I might forget and I might recall the final act without longing, not because of anything other than that the play was not written skillfully. Chaos, as in the war days of those in despair, and an autobiography of the spectators' impulse. The actors were tearing up their scripts and searching for the author among us. We, the witnesses, sitting in our seats. I tell my neighbor, the artist, don't draw your weapon and wait, unless you're the author. No. Then he asks me, and you? Are you the author? No. So we sit, scared. I say, be a neutral hero to escape from an obvious fate. He says, no hero dies revered in the second scene. I will wait for the rest. Maybe I would revise one of the acts, and maybe I would mend what the iron has done to my brothers. So I say, it is you, then. He responds, you and I are two masked authors and two masked witnesses. I say, how is this my concern? I'm a spectator. He says, no spectators at Chasm's door, and no one is neutral here, and you must choose your part in the end. So I say, I'm missing the beginning. What's the beginning?
Net Sorrow Cradle by Kelly Terwilliger. This was the day we had to go back into the world with nothing. Not even a bag of popcorn, not even the ashes that would come to us later. This was the day we had to buy breakfast, Sunday brunch at a roadside family restaurant. We were still among the living. We had bodies we needed to feed, whether or not they remembered to hunger. This was the day of the strangeness of napkins and plates and hashed browned potatoes. Spoons and forks awkward to hold, to handle, under the voices of angels, blown inside out. The wind, shutters and curtains of time, closing behind us. Snap, snap. Oh, heap of nothing. Father, husband, brother, son. How do we ever go on? How do we go back to singing? When I see another grieving now, I know whatever lies below the throat, call it heart, call it howl, call it wide-eyed stone, it drops again into that old sling. Yes, still waiting. Net,
Sorrow. Cradle. Riddled with holes. Not falling, just swaying above the abyss.
You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh, exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
So I hope that this series of poems is helping to care for your soul, even as the world presses in, helps to lift you up or reframe, to refract, to reflect. And I want to thank everyone who is part of this final sweep of projects, as well as those who came just before. You will notice we have faculty, alumni collaborating with us, and students as well as staff. So it's a glorious cross-section. Andrew?
Let's bring it into the home stretch. We have a couple more for you. Paulina, take it away.
Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft to the night, and watching with eternal eyelids apart, like nature's patient sleeping eremite. The moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel forever its soft fall and swell, awake forever in a sweet unrest. Still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live ever, or else swoon to death. Thank you.
Antidotes to Fear of Death by Rebecca Elson. Sometimes, as an antidote to fear of death, I eat the stars. Those nights, lying on my back, I suck them from the quenching dark till they are all inside me, pepper hot and sharp. Sometimes, instead, I stir myself into a universe still young, still warm as blood. No outer space, just space. The light of all the not yet stars, drifting like a bright mist. And all of us and everything, already there, but unconstrained by form. And sometimes it's enough to lie down here on earth, beside our long ancestral bones, to walk across the cobble fields of our discarded skulls, each like a treasure, like a chrysalis, thinking whatever left these husks flew off on bright wings.
Listen.
With the night falling, we are saying thank you.
We are stopping on the bridges to bow from the railings.
We were running out of the glass rooms with our mouths full of food to look at the sky and say thank you.
We are standing by the water, thanking it. Standing by the windows, looking out in our direction.
Back from a series of hospitals, back from a mugging, after funerals, we are saying thank you. After the news of the dead, whether or not we knew them, we are saying thank you.
Over telephones, we are saying thank you. In doorways and in the backs of cars and in elevators, remembering wars and the police at the door and the beatings on stairs, we are saying thank you.
In the banks, we are saying thank you.
In the faces of the officials and the rich and all who will never change, we go on saying thank you, thank you.
With the animals dying around us, taking our feelings, we are saying thank you.
With the forests falling faster than the minutes of our lives, we are saying thank you.
With the words going out like cells of the brain, with the cities growing over us, we are saying thank you, faster and faster.
With nobody listening, we are saying thank you. Thank you, we are saying, and waving, dark though it is.
Thank you. Maya, do you want to give a final thanks?
We have received over 50 nominations of poems and more for letters. We have shared perhaps a couple of dozen with you, about 20. So there will be more shares across the year. Also, there are things posted on the website. We want to thank the circles of people who have participated in this project in whatever way, and there have been varying levels and relationships. Thank you to those who nominated. Thank you to those who have wrestled with the words and the complexities and the ambiguities and the losses that these letters and poems engage. And to the Circle of Artists, of course. I'm very grateful. Also, for the circle of folks out there, thank you. Continue on with us, continue on in the world. We try to do good. Andrew.
Why don't we bring our own folks back onto the screen? Maggie, do you want to join on with me? Let's send them off with one final poem. You okay with that? All right. Everyone at home, this poem is called The World from the Book of Embraces by Eduardo Galeano. A man from the town of Niguá on the coast of Colombia could climb into the sky. On his return, he described his trip. He told how he had contemplated human life from on high. He said that we are a sea of tiny flames. The world, he revealed, is a heap of people, a sea of tiny flames.
Each person shines with his or her own flame. No two flames are alike. There are big flames and little flames, flames of every color. Some people's flames are so still they don't even flicker in the wind, while others have wild flames that fill the air with sparks. Some foolish flames neither burn nor shed light, but others blaze so fiercely that you can't look at them without blinking. And if you approach, you shine in fire.
Thank you. Let's do a final send-off. So, gestures of blessing, of thanks, and can everybody say your name? Maya, Andrew.
Andrew. Kellen.
Kellen. Paulina.
Paulina, Sam.
Sam, Cullum.
Cullum, Maggie.
Maggie, Camilla.
Camilla, Courtney.
Courtney, Andrew.
And from all of us to you at home, we say thank you. Let's invite our backstage folks. Let's say thank you to you as well. Martha, Olivia, you're amazing. Thank you, Toby, Alberto, Bethany, everyone who was involved in this. We wish you all a lovely evening.
And we have a final finale. Keep listening. There's a special encore to come with Sam and an original song.
Good night, everyone.
He'll go where the wind blows. It's not blowing hard. He'll land where it takes him. If it isn't too far, and after a while, he's bound to get tired. And he'll turn his back on the wind. And the wind keeps blowing. Oh, wind, hear me now. Show me how not to fall apart every time you blow by me. Knowing, starting today, when I played, I will listen for your song out my window and I keep blowing, 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 on and blowing, 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 on and blowing, 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 on blowing. He's born of the air, so he changes his mind. He knows what he wants, but he's running behind me now. And the world moves too fast for a Gemini who'll turn his back on his friend and shout words into the wind and wonder when to begin. But the wind keeps on blowing. Oh, wind, hear me now. Show me how not to fall apart every time you blow